Welcome back to Ultra Life Today. This is our 100th episode of Ultra Life Today. I'm Josh Bellew.
Adam Payne here. 100 episodes. Wow.
Wow, right?
And we have the pleasure of having...
And so many cool people like Zane Z. Woods.
Man, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we left everybody on a cliffhanger last week.
Big time. So zzwoods@yahoo.com. In case I forget that, email this guy, connect with him. One of the things that I really enjoyed, the moment I got Zane on the phone, I felt like he and I have known one another throughout eternity for a whole long time. And he's just getting ready to share with us the way he was encountered in a very unique way. And I've not even heard this story yet, but on the break, you were like, I haven't told this story very many times. So I'm waiting with bated breath, brother.
Well, I don't know if you guys want the full story. It's quite a bit.
Well, give us some snapshots. So we've got 13 minutes in this segment left, and then we've got another segment after this. So you take your time.
We can cover.
You take your time.
When we touch the divine, things change. I'm not talking about the religious experience. I'm talking about really encountering the power of God in our lives. Let's talk about that.
So I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
Which I learned a great discipline for the Bible, for learning, for researching, for many things like that. I pulled away onto my own path, and as I felt the Spirit pulling me that way, just the way I needed to go.
The mind of man makes his plans, but the Lord orders our steps.
Right.
Boom.
So I remember I'm in the Oklahoma Tower, and I'm on the 29th floor, and I had the whole 29th floor downtown, and I felt it come over me. I felt a huge passion, a desire, and a lack of desire for the things I had been pursuing. Now, in this, I had spent a great deal and of money and a great bit of time researching and looking for answers. I was looking for truth. I was looking for knowledge. I was looking for anything. I was looking for
Purpose.
God, but
I gotta ask the question: had somebody died that was really close to you?
Oh yes. So my sister, who was a year and a half older than me, at 18, she was killed in a car wreck.
Yeah, ripped out of your life.
Yes. Yeah. So that was impactful, and I had a lot of impactful things happen in my life.
Right.
But one of the things I had done after coming out of a religion, that was very strict in what it taught to me, I questioned a lot. I questioned what I could trust, because I thought to myself, well, if what I believe is what somebody else taught me, then is it perhaps just whoever got to me first? And it made me want to understand, and which ended up being a path that strengthened my faith, and I didn't know where it would lead. But I literally was in a place of questioning everything, researching everything, at the Christie's auctions, buying original books from ancient Egypt, from India, translating them myself, because I didn't trust.
You didn't trust what other people were giving
came from men.
That's
to the point of...
That's pretty heroic.
I ran into a lot of things that were very scary, real things, spiritual things. Places.
You're such a Renaissance guy,
yeah.
man, and I use that term very advisedly.
I'm the kid who put his finger in the socket enough times before. I mean, it's not anything to brag about.
I'm sensing this culminated in something.
It did. So one of the big paths I took, I joined the International Alchemy Guild, and I graduated and became one of the top 500 in the world. And you have to master astronomy, metallurgy, just a vast...
Is the word spagyric something?
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
of course.
I know it very well.
When he first told me on the phone about his background in alchemy and metallurgy, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm not going to be able to keep you guys apart.
I have a whole deep dive into spagyric that I went on.
So that was kind of what was behind my lab I built, and
right.
I had the chem lab, and I learned chemistry in depth, and made all my own, tinctures, all my own extractions.
Right, but until you really get to that whole theory of paraclesical spagyrism you really haven't touched on.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's deep.
It is deep.
And it's fascinating. I still, have learned so much that I use today. But in my journey, because I had separated myself from the religion I was raised in so much in my pursuits of learning truth, I didn't know where it would take me. I didn't know what I'd find. I believed in a creator. I believed in truth and righteousness, but I didn't understand where it was. I was shocked when it brought me back to Jesus. Because
isn't that always a shock, right?
It was a shock, yeah. Because here I studied.
How could the answer to the conundrum of death be brought back to something so obvious that it seems ludicrous to our natural mind?
Well, I'll tell you what happened that made it so different was previously I had learned Jesus from humans.
Yeah.
This time I didn't.
You learned Jesus from
Oh,
God's
we're actually
hand.
talking about a real relationship here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Or
Imagine that.
Right.
combined with revelation?
Okay, so this is what I did. This was the event.
Okay.
I had built my own library, and for about 2 years I spent about 19 hours a day researching.
Wow.
And I was researching enlightenment. I was looking for the answer.
This is incredible.
And so I don't know if the Grand Arcanum, I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
It's a mysterious ancient puzzle, Masonic and Hermetic, actually. Well, I was looking at it, the Sephiroth, all these different religions, because I'd studied all the religions. And suddenly this one evening, it all clicked to me, and they kind of overlaid, and I kind of saw a legend, if you will, of understanding. Now, I don't know where that came from, but I thought to myself, and it's about 2 a.m., and it was nearing Halloween in 2016. And I thought to myself, what would I read with this new understanding? What can I look at that would help me? What's the most mysterious thing I know? And I hadn't pulled out a Bible in years, but I decided to pull out the Bible and read out loud the entire book of Revelation all the way through.
Wow.
And I did, and it happened to trigger a real life experience, physical experience that was witnessed by probably about 50 people.
What happened?
All kinds of things, terrifying things, visions, waking visions. And I had studied entheogens. I'd grown, cultivated, extracted, and used many of the psychedelics, in research setting.
Part of that whole exploration.
And
yes.
and they were always research setting. I was never trying to party or rave or anything like that.
You were exploring,
but I had an understanding.
You were exploring consciousness.
Yeah, what happens?
Yeah,
what takes place? What are we capable of? So this was the first time I had hallucinogenic visions without taking anything at all, and it was terrifying to me.
Darn those open visions!
It was
when those
terrifying.
happen, it's just a really weird thing.
It was like I was searching for something, and I read the old books. I read Plato to Pliny to Aristotle, all of them. Hermes, went back to, the old pre-Egyptian religions and everything. And I guess when this enacted, I didn't expect for it to be real, if that makes sense. So it really shocked me. It really terrified me.
It wasn't a set of philosophies that could be condensed down into some tome or some codex. You were experiencing the Spirit of God.
So the unexplainable more.
One of the things that happened,
you right in the face
that night. So I read Revelation. I woke up the next morning. I woke up and knew to get up, almost being led, like what I would describe as what Holy Spirit feels like. Mm-hmm. And I went outside just as the sun's coming up, and I looked up at the sky, and the entire sky was blood red.
Wow!
And there was millions of blackbirds flying every direction.
Wow.
And I instantly hit my knees. I was scared to death because I'd never seen anything like that without taking something, without a chemical compound or something happening. And I felt an attack on me physically. It felt like death itself, fear itself as an entity, if you will. And I cried out to God. And
wow,
I had about a 10-day experience from that point forward. I wasn't able to sleep for 10 days. I wasn't able to eat for 10 days. Went to many specialists, many of the, my family and their congregations, and all of them were very supportive, but also very scared by the things that are happening. I lost about 50 pounds in 2 days.
Wow.
My skin shed off my arms completely, and renewed. It was a wild experience. But through that, there was these dreams, intense dreams, and that's when I started my diet. It was like something let me know what I was doing to myself. Why would I intentionally ingest something that is going to harm my temple? Why would I make a choice knowingly that will be a detriment to my mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health?
It sounds like you had such a deep connection so quickly with being consciously aware of the world around us and the poisons that are existing all over.
My story is not one of a blessed man walking with God. It's more like the prodigal son.
Yeah.
I went way off course and was pulled back with the rod.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. It was like, he's like, you're not going down this path anymore. You're going to do this. Enough. I felt like I was being disciplined.
Yeah. A good friend of mine used to say, God has a unique way of using full means of persuasion to get our attention.
Yes,
and he does.
Yes. And I'm thankful for it.
And it's love.
Yes, I'm thankful for it.
It's love.
But the amount of information, and again, I've had dreams all my life, going back to being 5 years old, leaving my body to the point my parents burned my mattress because they thought it was possessed. I've always had dreams.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So through this time period, I had a lot of dreams that were very specific about what I needed to eat, what I needed to do.
Interesting.
And why. And they're inarguable. I mean, and I understood why through the things I'd researched previously. So everything there was a point in this where I could see the line drawn to every event that had taken place in my life up to that point and why they were necessary and how they connected in order for me to be able to move forward understanding what I did.
God causes all things to work together.
And when that clicked, it was just wild.
Boom.
So at that time, I closed businesses. I separated myself from businesses. I was very big into politics at the time. A lot of doors were open in politics.
And this is literally 6 years ago?
How many years ago is this?
About seven.
Okay, yes. 2016, 2017?
Yeah, right in that area.
Okay. We're going to be right back. This is like fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the ride with Zane Woods, zzwoods@yahoo.com. This is Ultra Life Today. This is Zane Woods. I'm Josh Bellew.
I'm Adam Payne. This is probably one of the most bizarre and interesting interviews we've done. I am so grateful that you're here.
Yeah, me
Stay
too.
tuned. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Zane Woods, the Renaissance guy. We'll be right back with Ultra Life Today.
Our mission is to take nature's most beloved botanicals and enhance them with our liquid protein scaffold technology. This helps it reach your cells faster and better. With exponentially enhanced bioavailability, you'll feel better every day. Ultra Botanica, the feel-good curcumin.
100th episode of Ultra Life Today, right here, right now. And we're celebrating it, Adam Payne, with somebody that I'm calling one of my best friends, and we only met 2 days ago on the phone.
Wow.
But we instantly had a spiritual connection.
We're resonating
Yeah,
here.
it was really cool. And so we are...
I can't wait to see where our journey takes us with Zane.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So,
Yeah.
Josh, give us a little bit of a recap here.
Right. Well...
Because we only have 15 more minutes.
Yeah, this guy, I mean, I rarely use the word Renaissance guy, but this guy from a young age, had a lot of religious boxes around his life, had a mom that took him out into the country and raised him from 6th grade on, right? Out in the country. This guy has an affinity for nature, for animals, for extreme sports, got him into bodybuilding. For goodness sake, when he had his spiritual encounter, you were on the 22nd or 23rd floor of one of the big office buildings in downtown?
Yeah.
And were you renting that entire thing at the time?
The whole floor, yeah.
hello. Okay. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps anyway. So this is Zane Z. Woods. You need to get in touch with him. zzwoods@yahoo.com. I can't imagine the emails you're going to get, Zane, off of this time, because you've been sharing some things that a lot of people would be scared to share in a public forum. But as I've said, Adam and I draw this stuff out of people because we're so hungry for the essence of life and ourselves being encountered by the creator of the universe, who showed up to us in the form of Jesus Christ. And wow, we're back again. We do want to talk a little bit about the diet of a vegan bodybuilder, but I don't want to derail us from anything you wanted to say about the way God has encountered you in your life and the way you've ultimately found truth in a person.
Well, they go hand in hand. I mean, the diet that I apply is something that I was led to do.
Yep.
And given knowledge to do. And because the key ingredient is discipline. The key ingredient in life and with my walk with Christ is discipline, and so making the harder choices because I know they're what's right.
But we talked on the break, and I want to throw this out because so many people end up beginning, like I used to feel self-deprecating and condemning myself. The really cool thing that Zane is saying about making choices, it can seem really hard for people, but guess what? When we're empowered by Holy Spirit, choices are like a natural progression of our life. So, I don't want people to think, my God, I can't do what Zane did because I don't have any willpower. Your will can be empowered by Holy Spirit living in you, right?
So Zane, help us understand a little bit. Are you out there helping people to transform their life in a fundamental way? What are you doing out there right now?
I do. It's a lot on me because what I really truly want to help. I'm not doing it for a money or a business. I've taken individuals under my wing and given all I had and put all my effort into helping them transform their life. Not, I don't train people in a gym where I'm trying to get you 30 minutes a day to try to get you fit or make you feel better about yourself. Those are great things. They're great starting points. But what I want to do is really help somebody change what their life is and their health and their physical health and their spirituality and everything. And so it's very one-on-one when I work with somebody.
Yeah.
As far as athletes, what I do, any athlete that wants to compete but do it without PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, and wants to do it in a healthier way. That's what I do, because I'm not going to suggest or confirm that they should be doing something that is detrimental for their health in the long run for a short-term gain.
Oh, wow.
So I'm in a different sector. I don't stay as busy with it for that reason, because a lot of people want that quick.
Right.
They're after the quick aesthetic, and they're willing to make a long-term sacrifice for a short-term gain, and I'm just not on with that.
A lot of people just want the exterior visual from working out,
right,
and not the inner health / vibrancy and wellness.
And I think people do. I think there's a yearning for the overall health. I think they feel maybe that it's overwhelming what it would take to accomplish that. And I feel like, and so no judgment on anybody. And hey, even people that choose a path in bodybuilding, I want to make a statement that do use anabolics. There's a lot of discipline involved. There's a lot of hard work involved. And there's a lot of people that are working very hard on their health according to what they understand.
Yep.
So
true.
I don't want to speak it in a way that it's speaking down on anybody in the sport.
Yeah.
As for me and myself, bodybuilding isn't something I do. Bodybuilding is something I'm allowed to do because of my discipline with my health
and who you are, right? Spiritually. And so there's
definitely
I want to behave and act out of who I am, not about who I want to become.
Right.
And I think that there's a place spiritually where it's not that we arrive, it's that we express who we are. And I think the fact that you're helping people to walk that spiritual road and to manifest it both physically, emotionally, and mentally, and with strength and wellness. I think that's what I feel like is happening in your life, and maybe this might be a little prophetic, is God is leading you on a way to help communicate this path to people. Maybe there's a book coming or something like that will allow people to take hold of this overall approach to wellness in a way that that people can do it maybe at their own pace, maybe in conjunction with your coaching or other people that you teach to coach. But there's a whole possibility here of how we as individuals could embrace wholeness and wellness. I think the biggest thing that we lack, and the biggest thing that we lack in our corporations, in our families, is the willingness to drop everything that's going on in order to rally around people and their need for wholeness. Mm-hmm. We ignore wholeness because we think that's their problem. If they're not whole emotionally, physically, spiritually, that's not my problem. Mm-hmm. But that's what Christ did. Christ embraced everybody's wholeness around them as his responsibility.
Well, and you brought up a key word, ignorance. To ignore something it's a coping mechanism, because those things are difficult to look at. They're difficult to face. They're difficult to begin to attack as something to change yourself. Change scares us. Mm. And so what we do without noticing is that we will ignore those things and go into resting on those things and doing things that we like to do what we're good at. We don't want to go do the things we need to work on. We like you go when somebody asks you what game you want to play, you're going to suggest the game you're good at.
Right.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
You don't want to go play the game you need to get better at. Some of us do, and sometimes we do, and that's when we're enabled to grow.
Right.
And so, like I said, that's what the extreme sports is for me, is facing those things that I fear and then overcoming them and then growing from it. And so I have the same experience when I'm working out. Every set I get a chance to try and do better. And it's not just how much weight I'm lifting, it's how well I'm lifting it. Is my mind muscle connection happening? Am I feeling the stimulation? Am I in tune with my body and with my spirit? Because I'm given this gift of a beautiful body, like we all are. It has so much more abilities, I believe, than what we tap into.
No question.
Because we ignore that a lot, and things like when I took LSD, I experienced auditory visualization. And so I was able to see anything I could hear in my mind, which blew me away. But then understanding that, just kind of opened a door of what we're capable of.
Right.
And those are all gifts from God. And there's a scripture, that says that our body is a temple. And there's also a scripture that says, gird up your loins, which means trim up your waistline to be ready for the work.
As a man thinketh in his heart,
right,
so is he.
Yeah, that's
talk about
Proverbs.
Visualization. Yeah.
So I think it's important to also say that this has not been a cold turkey turn for me. I've had to have patience with myself. I've had to have forgiveness with myself. When I first went plant-based, which the biggest benefit I've experienced from going plant-based on this has been the anti-inflammatory.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And, being able to use antioxidants and things like that, because it's all about how fast your body can heal. But it's been a journey. I first went pescatarian and back to vegan to see what the difference was. And then I tried meat again and back. And it's been a journey. But I want people to understand that it's okay to be patient with yourself and give yourself time as long as you are working on something. Mm-hmm.
I'm always telling people, and if you've listened to any of our Ultra Life Today podcasts, people have a tendency. I used to be the all or nothing guy, okay? I mean,
Same.
The pendulum never was in the center. It was over here or it was over there. So I would be a firebrand for 2 years doing something. And then when I stopped, I would literally do nothing and go the other direction. we don't have to eat the apple. I'm trying to rephrase what you just said. We don't have to eat the apple all at once, do we?
Right.
We can actually take steps along the way.
I mean, one
progress,
bite at a time.
One bite at a time. I mean, you know, if I tell somebody they need to drink a gallon of water a day, nobody's going to do it. But if I say the next time you're eating lunch, would you actually just drink 6 ounces of water with your lunch and then try to do that every day?
Well, so
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And this journey, so what happens when you start to become more conscious of every choice, more conscious of every decision? Do you not raise your consciousness?
Of course.
And in doing that, you're able to see parts of yourself that you previously ignored that can be very difficult to handle, very difficult to overcome, very difficult to accept and admit to yourself.
Yeah.
Because, hey, I'm a human. I'm a man. I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes I've chosen not to look at for many years. And it's been a difficult journey to look at those things, but that's where the forgiveness comes in. To know and remember that you're forgiven, you have to give that forgiveness to yourself.
Come on.
And you can deny that. You know, you can forgive others.
Okay, Zane, you just hit on something that is so paramount in our lives. You were talking about forgiveness, and you're talking about forgiving others, but then you made it come all the way back around and hit really close to home for all of us, and that's forgiving ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I feel that's so important when it comes to diet, you know, which one of the things that I was here to talk about.
The guilt-shame cycle.
Listen, you guys understand this. When you have guilt, when you have anger, when you have shame, when you have fear, when you have joy, when you have love, when you have peace, any of those emotions, you release chemicals into your body.
Yeah.
And so part of your diet is your mindset, is your thinking. Is
Wow, that's interesting.
And
I love it.
And it's very difficult to get to a place where you can heal at a level to compete with others that are on anabolics and eating meats and things like that. As a plant-based, bodybuilder, natural, I've got to look for all the little things. And part of my diet is that. Part of my diet is my mental focus. It's my spiritual focus. It's because they actually have a physical effect on us.
Right. For me, this comes back to wholeness, right? Wholeness is not just what you eat. It's your approach to yourself, having forgiveness towards yourself, learning to accept this forgiveness from God so that we can enjoy the wholeness that comes from Messiah, right? We have to get to a place where that love, resurrection power is flowing into our lives, through our lives, and helping others around us.
Beautifully described.
I love him because he first loved me in spite of me.
In spite.
He still does.
Wow, what
every
a
moment
guest.
of every day.
It's been great to be here. Yeah.
Okay.
Zane, Zachary.
ZZ Woods at yahoo.com. They're going to blow up your email. But also, you can just Google this guy. You can find all kinds of interesting things about Zane Z. Woods on the internet, Instagram, different places. He's got a lot to say that we didn't get to talk about today. Ultralife Today, 100th episode right now. Big milestone.
Let's go.
So, Adam Payne.
What a day.
Yeah.
What a day. Zane, thank you for coming.
Great pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you're going to come hang out with us.
Absolutely.
We're going to break bread together.
Yeah,
We're going to show
many
you what
times.
we do over there west of the Capitol in Oklahoma City.
Let's do it again.
Ultralife Today, guys. Please come back.